Hi everyone, in today's video we are going to talk about politics and dreams or prophecy in 16th century Spain, and for this we will discuss the case of Lucrecia de Leon as we have it in a magnificent great book by Professor Richard Kagan. Actually, we know that at this time in the 16th century specifically, there was a let's say nationwide phenomenon in the Iberian Peninsula. Specifically, we have of course what is the Kingdom of Spain, but also in Portugal. But at this time we found that there were many people that used to claim to receive messages from God, prophecies, and they let's say named themselves prophets in the name of God and going around on the streets talking to people and announcing prophecies of imminent destruction, the end of the world, denouncing corruption and the many problems that they used to see in society at the time. And one of these, let's say, people was Lucrecia. Lucrecia was a young girl. She used to live from Castilla. She moved to Madrid with her family, and we found that she was, like I said, very, very young. And according to the story, she belonged to a kind of middle-class family, though the family had kind of struggles with money and issues like this with monetary and finance. And we know that her father used to work for a very prominent, well-established family of let's say bankers. And for Lucrecia, the story goes that she started experiencing some kind of visions or dreams specifically, and in which she described certain apocalyptical events that were supposed to happen to the Spanish, let's say, territory, to the country of Spain. And we know that at the beginning, like in the beginning, the family was kind of scared about these kind of dreams. The father was very, very angry. The mother was kind of supportive to Lucrecia's and what she was experiencing. And we know that with time, certain people came to hear about this girl having these kind of dreams, and she was slowly but surely attracting attention, and more her dreams became known. Now, like I said, at this time in 16th century Spain, it was very common to find like many people on the street claiming to have received visions and dreams from God, and they were simply known as street prophets, as I said before. And when we have this young girl claiming to receive these dreams and messages, it was not uncommon for people. So it's like, okay, yeah, so another person who claims to receive these dreams. Now let's check them out, see if these dreams are actually from God. The issue was that at that time, the Inquisition was working, let's say active, operative in Spain. And when you have someone claiming to have prophecies, immediately this is something that will attract the suspicion of the Inquisition, and they will go and check out what's going on with this, because they were chasing or after heresies. And sometimes some people used to pretend to receive dreams and visions from God and messages, and sometimes they used to disrupt the order. And these kind of dreams kind of dealt with politics too, specifically, especially if the dreams were like a critic to the government, to the monarchy of in this case Philip II. And of course, neither the king, neither the church want to have someone on the street claiming to have received messages from God, speaking in the name of God, taking the authority and the place of the church as the only let's say conduct or way of channel through which God reveals himself or give his word. And then you have someone else claiming that, taking that kind of authority. So neither the government, neither the church wants these kind of things to happen, so they immediately used to go and chase and destroy these kind of people who claim this kind of prophetic inspiration. Now, with this young girl, we have that there were very wealthy individuals that immediately attached to her and kind of boosted her career and their own personal careers, because when these kind of dreams sound too apocalyptic and an imminent destruction and the end of the world is near and Jesus Christ is coming back, all this kind of theme is very popular within Christianity. And at that time they were expecting the end of the world and the second coming of Jesus. So immediately this kind of attract people. People flocked to Lucretia and to hear what it was all about. And we have two individuals, one guy named Allende and the other one Allende, and we have another individual called Mendoza, which these very important and wealthy individuals were really, let's say, within the hierarchical structure of the monarchy and the church. We have that these people have relations, connections with people, like I said, within the government, within the ecclesiastical order. And they kind of use Lucretia also to boost their own careers. And we find out that at this time, for a young girl, claiming to have these kind of dreams and visions was a very, very big issue. First of all, we know that at that time women kind of have some difficulties and struggles in lives, meaning that they have to stay at home, they couldn't really voice their opinion, no freedom of expression, nothing like this. And for a young girl to claim to have these kind of abilities was something great, amazing, a great opportunity. And in fact many people used this or took advantage of this to boost their own careers, to gain status, wealth, money, because people immediately start giving money to Lucretia. Her family situation financially improve, of course. We have that, and I'm gonna quote this from Professor Richard's book, when he says that at that time a woman whose visions became public knowledge was suspected of being under the influence of the devil, and sooner or later she was certain to be arrested. This was the common opinion of the society and was dominated by the Catholic Church. So immediately they associate the women with this kind of dreams of someone being possessed or even under the influence of the demon. And sooner or later they went after these people, women specifically, like in this case, in Lucretia's case, and as actually happened. And we know that it was really, let's say, difficult because like all these, let's say, popularity, status, wealth, knowledge that she kind of gathered for herself at one point certainly vanished when even her own family turned her back on her, and finally she was taken by the Inquisition, taken on to trial, and finally she was banned from Madrid, from the capital. Now there were reasons behind this. The thing is that Lucretia, she was having certain affair with a guy. She got pregnant when she was in jail, and it was a crazy story. Now, according to the standards of the church, someone that claimed to be a prophet from God and having this kind of morally unacceptable behavior at that time was a big issue, and it was impossible that someone to claim to have such revelations have this kind of behavior, like having a marriage or relations with someone if they were not even married, getting pregnant. It was like a public embarrassment. So for some time Lucretia was hiding her pregnancy, and of course there was a time in which she couldn't hide it anymore. It's an amazing story. She got birth in jail. She also, we know that from the stories, which it seems to be basically that all her dreams and all the stories around this were simply lies and inventions. Why I say this? Because according to the testimony and what we have from the archives of the Inquisition, we know that certainly the people that were, let's say, how we call this, the managers, if we want to use that word, of Lucretia's career or prophetic career, were the ones that kind of manipulated everything. Mendoza, and Allende. These guys kind of transcribed the dreams, wrote them down, and publicized them. Lucretia kind of didn't have that much education. In fact, when she was interrogated, she told the authorities that this was just nonsense dreams, and it was actually Allende and Mendoza the ones that gave interpretation to it and make things complicated. In fact, we know that her dreams were kind of weird dreams. She used to dream that she would become the Queen of Spain. She said, okay, that there will come a time in which Spain was supposed to be invaded by the Arabs, or in this case the Turks, and she and her army were supposed to free Spain from the invaders. Her army, which in fact was composed by her mom and her family, and then she will marry a guy called Miguel. Miguel was another street prophet, and then Miguel and her will make sure to bring God's kingdom on earth, and later on they will transfer the Holy See from Rome to Toledo and transfer all the holy relics to Spain. So if we hear this kind of dreams, sounds like a little bit crazy dreams. So even like unpractical and unreal. She used to dream also that she will go then and free Jerusalem for Christianity, and all the big, let's say, God's kingdom will come and everything will be great. So this was the kind of apocalyptic content of her dreams. But then she got in trouble because she used to criticize the king, the monarchy, Philip II. She used to talk about the corruption within the church, the clergymen, all the poverty, political issues that were happening in Spain at that time. So if you mess with the king, if you mess with the church, if you have these kind of dreams, you certainly are going to get in trouble. Of course, you're going to have certain people that will come to you. They go, oh yeah, this person is receiving these kind of visions, dreams, interpretations from God. It seems to be that though there were certain dreams that actually happened. For example, she kind of prophesied that the Spanish Armada will be destroyed. It actually happened in 1588. She also kind of dreamed that there was a commander, the commander of the Spanish Armada, Marquis of Santa Cruz. She kind of prophesied and said, oh, he will die, and actually happened. So a few dreams like these actually became true. And the other issue with her dreams is that these kind of dreams look like residual dreams from her daily life. For example, when she was a maiden in the Alcazaba, which is the king's palace in Madrid, suddenly she started dreaming about what was going on around in her daily life. Suddenly she started dreaming about the king's office, the king's stair, the king's room, things like that. When she moved from the king's palace, her dreams topic changed and switched to something else. And sometimes even in the testimony given by the witnesses, they claim that Lucretia's dreams also were certainly from or taken from what she heard in church, like also sermons and talks from the priests. Sometimes she used to take certain passages from the book of Revelation or from the apocryphal texts like the book of Ezra and many other texts, and she used to combine them together and come up with certain kind of vision of prophecies. Also, there was even a witness, Guillén de Casaus, that he said during the trial that one day he had this conversation with Lucretia, and suddenly they start talking about the connection, how the book of Ezra mentions and talks about eagles, and they made a connection with the shield of the Habsburg family, the royal family, that have eagles too. And suddenly after this conversation, Lucretia started dreaming non-stop with eagles, about eagles. So there was something weird going on with this kind of prophetess in her dreams, and it clearly seems that it looked like certainly like an invention or creation. like I said, certain dreams look like kind of happened, but the majority of the dreams were simply nonsense dreams that in fact many people believe, like, or some people believe. And there was a point in when she said, okay, everybody has to go and hide in certain cave and gather water and food for certain time because Spain is gonna be invaded, this and that. And actually we know that very influential people like the treasurer of the king himself went and hide in this cave. So from this we can see that this kind of let's say people with this kind of abilities and dreams and all these had certain impact and influence at the time that such important people kind of believed them. Now, like I said, Lucretia was not the only one, neither was the most famous one. We have many prophets going on the streets around, besides of course those that were kind of known in ecclesiastical realms like saints and similars. For example, there was another street prophet named Piedrola. This guy was a soldier in the army of the king. Suddenly after the war he got all poor and he ended up in the streets, and suddenly he became a prophet too. And then we have people that came from Portugal, and they were kind of prophetess too, like many women too. And Lucretia had contact with these people. She spoke with them, exchanged ideas, knowledge, and all of these things she kind of incorporated it into her own revelations that then later on she gave to certain people. In this case, Allende and Mendoza, who were the ones that publicized all her dreams. So in general we can say that at the time 16th century Spain and Portugal and also in other countries, like we have the story with Joan of Arc and many others, but specifically in the Iberian Peninsula in 16th century Spain, this kind of prophetic people and street prophets was something very popular, very well known. And the thing is that they usually, their dreams were connected with politics, all these kind of prophecies, and they were getting in trouble with the kingdom, with the government, with the church. And if you mess with these very important people, you will for sure end up in the jails of the Inquisition, as happened with Lucretia. That after the trial everything was kind of revealed. Her own family turned her back on her. She kind of was banned from the city, and we can see that this was kind of the end for certain people that used to claim or dare to challenge the authority of the time. So this was a well-known phenomenon at the time. So this is the time to say goodbye for today. Thank you so much for watching, and in next videos we'll continue to talk more about the Inquisition in Iberia and also in America, and how the Inquisition went after let's say heretics and what they considered to be heresies, and let's say Judaism, witchcraft, and many other issues that the church at the time was after and punished people for it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.